Hello and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be working on insert interval, and in this problem you're given an array of non-overlapping intervals and they are sorted by the start, and you're given a new interval that you need to insert. And insert the interval such that there's nothing overlapping at the end and return it. And you can return into a new array. So let's take a look at the example. So this first example is here. So we're inserting 2, 5 into this, and 2, 5 overlaps with 1, 3. So when you combine 2, 5 and 1, 3, you get 1, 5, and then this doesn't overlap. In the second example, we are inserting 4, 8. And so when you do that, you have a bunch of overlapping intervals, and at the end you get this. And this is the example we'll look into in depth. So basically, the intervals are already sorted. So all we really need to do is just go through our intervals that we have, and then determine is there an overlap or not. And if there is no overlap, then we'll just put in the one that should go in, and if there is an overlap, then we'll combine them. So let's kind of walk through how this is going to work. So we're going to have an array of intervals. So let's just go through this example. We'll just go interval by interval, and we'll go through this exact example too. So our starting interval that we're trying to insert is 4, 8. And basically we're going to go through all the intervals and go one at a time and then see if there's an overlap, and then we'll have a results array, which will be over here. So the first interval is 1, 2. So if we have 4, 8 and 1, 2, we can basically just insert the smaller one of them because we want it to be in increasing order. And if there's an overlap, then we'll just combine it and then we'll go to the next one. So we're going to hold a value and insert one of them if there is no overlap. And if there's an overlap, then we'll just combine them and hold that value until at the very end. So there is no overlap here, and we can usually check that by just checking does this interval appear before this one, or does this interval appear before this one? And if one of those is true, then we'll just insert the one that appears first. And that's pretty easy to check. You can just check does the start of this interval appear after the end of this one, which would make this one second, or does the start of this interval appear after the end of this one, which would make this one second. So in this case, this one is clearly here, and there is no overlap because the start of or the end of this interval appears before the start of this one. So we're going to take this interval and put it here, and then this will be the interval we'll be holding still. Then we're going to look at 3, 5 next in our array. So we'll put in 3, 5, and this is just us looping through the array of intervals. So is there an overlap here? Yes, there is, because one isn't completely before the start of another, and so on. So if there's an overlap, it's pretty easy to combine. Two intervals that overlap combined is just the minimum of the starts and the maximum of the two ends. So these combined would be interval 4, 8. So we basically just make a new interval 4, 8, and we just hold on to that, and we keep going to the next one. So the next interval here is 6, 7. So for 6, 7, is there an overlap? Yes, there is. And we combine them again, and 4, 8 and 6, 7 would just be combined into 4, 8 because 6, 7 is completely in 4, 8. But we don't have to check if one's completely in the other one or anything. Just if there's an overlap, you just do the minimum of the starts, which is 4, the maximum of the ends, which is 8. So we have 4, 8 again. Then we go to the next one, 8, 10. There's an overlap here as well. They overlap in the 8, so you would just combine them. So the minimum starts is 4, the maximum of the ends is 10. So now our interval would be 4, 10. And then we have 12, 16. So these don't overlap, so we're just going to put in the one that is smaller. So that's this one over here, and we will hold on to this one. And that's the last one. So then after we're done iterating through our entire array, we'll just have one interval left that we're holding on to, and it's going to be guaranteed to be the one that should go in the end. So then we just put this in at the end. And that's pretty much it. So you just have the current interval you're holding, you go loop through your array, you check, does my interval overlap with the one I'm holding? If it does, merge them and hold that one. If it doesn't, put in the one that goes in first and hold the other one. And keep doing that. And then once you're done, the interval you're left holding at the end should be the one that comes in last. And then you just return the array. So we can code that up. So we don't need to sort because it's already sorted. So we can just use this new interval to determine the one we're holding. So we can loop through our intervals, and we can destructure the interval into start and end. So we can say for start and in intervals. So we're going to first check if the current interval in the array comes before the interval we're holding. So if end is less than new interval 0, the start of the new interval. That means this interval in the array should just, oh yeah, I forgot, we need to make a result array. So if this interval comes before the one we're holding, we're just going to put this interval in the array. So we just say res append start end. Otherwise, if the interval we're holding comes before this interval in the array and there's no overlap, then we'll put that in. So new interval 1 is less than start. That means the interval we're holding should just be completely before this one, so we'll put that in instead. Res append new interval. And then we need to make the interval we're holding now to be this one over here. So this is just going to be start end now. Otherwise, we have to do a merge, and then we have to keep holding it. So we're going to make a new start, new end. So we could say like new start equals the minimum of start and new interval 0. New end is going to be next. So new end equals the maximum of end and new interval 1. So like I said, you take the minimum starts, maximum ends, and this is going to be your new interval you're holding. So now we can just set this equal to it. So we can say new interval equals new start, new end. And yeah, there we go. And so now we have this new interval, and we will just hold on to it. Then at the very end, we will have a interval always, no matter what. So we just need to add it to the result. So result append new interval and return result. And that should be it. So let's take a look. And there we go, yeah. So yeah, kind of straightforward interval problem, not too bad. You don't need to sort or anything, and you just need to figure out a way to compare intervals and to merge. And so here the time is of n because we're just looping through our intervals. It's not n log n or anything. We don't need to sort. And space is of 1 because we are like not making any additional space. We're just using our result. So yeah, pretty straightforward question. Definitely one you should know. So if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. And if you did like the solution and it's helpful, then please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next one. Thanks for watching.